And we're back with the Carmudgeon Show.
Another of the Carmudgeon Show.
Hold on. This is not another clap of the Carmudgeon Show, which is what you said. Okay, ready? We're going to start again. And we're back
with another episode of
the Carmudgeon Show,
part of the
Hagerty
Podcast Network.
I am Jason Cammisa. This is Derek Tam Hyphen Scott.
Hyphen Scott, yes. And this episode is...
You throw up in the middle of this episode.
It's more near the end, but yes. The episode in which I throw up, and we discuss, of course, vintage Mercedes-Benzes for a while, and then...
And of course, vintage Volkswagens for a while.
Oh, yes, and vintage Volkswagens. And then we get a random number generator guided visit through a small selection of entries in both Jason's and my spreadsheets documenting the cars that we have driven with, of course, some colorful commentary.
Without further ado, let's go to the little music so we can come back and watch Derek shoot water or whatever the fuck that was out of whatever hole that came out of.
Face hole. Cue the music.
Boop. Hi, we're back.
Welcome.
They just heard that.
Back.
Can you do that? The deet song?
We just heard it. We just heard it. Okay.
So I heard a rumor about you.
Okay.
It was written on a bathroom stall wall. And that rumor is Hyphen bought another 124 and you didn't tell me.
This is the first time I've seen you since I bought it.
Doesn't matter. I demand to be notified immediately on any new old Mercedes car purchases.
Shocking that I found this out another 124.
Because I made another friend of mine buy another 124. So this poor motherfucker
has two 124s.
He has two smoke silver 124s. He has a sedan.
The most geriatric of the colors.
Yes, he has a sedan and now an A124, which is a convertible. He also has an R129, which is basically a 124 two-seat convertible with some S-Class shit thrown in.
And better structure.
Than the sedan?
Oh, no. Than the
A124.
Yes.
If he listens to this, Derek hates your car.
Sorry. I just said no such thing.
I would never have such a thing. It's got no structure. It's jiggly like your breasts. Or something you said. I don't know.
Flan.
Flan?
Drives like a flan. No, I mean, if you need back seats in a convertible, there's not a lot of choices. And this is the same thing that happens with 3.5 cabriolets. I just don't need back seats. I don't need a convertible either. As a ongoing hydraulic cylinder, roof cylinder
saga victim.
Saga victim. Yeah, victim is the right word.
I have 3 convertibles. I have no such issues because
they're all manual.
Well, the cabbie goes,
yeah.
The Beat goes, doink, and then the Lotus you just take off and roll up and throw away.
And never see it again.
Well, then you got to try to put the hardtop on. It takes 45 minutes. But okay, so you have bought another Mercedes 124 with an M104 engine in it?
Yes.
And a dogleg 5-speed?
Yes.
Get out.
Yeah. I mean, no.
Okay. Yeah, if you get out, I'd be talking to myself. 124... M104, so it's a 320 or a 300?
It's a 320.
So it's an E320 manual wagon?
It's a wagon,
oh, yes.
And
can I do burnouts in
it? Sure.
It's the only dogleg wagon I know of.
Yeah, and it's interesting.
I mean, technically I could swap a dogleg into my E30, but
you could put a dogleg in anything you want, and then it would be
that is a personal...
That's a personal decision, and I refuse to discuss it. Yes.
What the fuck was in that Chinese food we just ate? Because we are slap happy, to use a Michigan expression.
What does that mean?
Slap happy?
It means you're not inclined
to... slap happy. It means you're just being silly.
Oh, it doesn't mean you're inclined towards domestic abuse?
No, it's not that you're inclined to. You enjoy domestic abuse.
Oh, sorry.
That one was slap happy. She just went around getting slapped wherever. Anyway, it wasn't MSG. It was fucking
LSD.
LSD. So you bought a E320
dogleg wagon.
Mm-hmm. And are you leaving it in Europe to rot with your
No.
201?
I'm bringing it over. I'm working on shipping right now. I have to send over the contract.
What color is it?
It is Bornite.
Bornite?
Yes.
Very cool.
Purple.
Yeah,
basically.
purple. With what interior?
Purple, black leather. And it's
unusual.
A sport line. So it has the 500e seats and a faster steering box.
Yes.
And stiffer springs and wider wheels, although it's been swapped to AMG wheels already. And the sports steering wheel, which is 10 millimeters smaller.
As if you've noticed 10 millimeters. Insert joke here. Oh, God, no more insert nothing. I think this is amazing. Congratulations.
I'm very excited about it. I've always wanted one of these.
Where does it live?
It is outside of Duisburg.
Duisburg, Germany.
Northern Germany. Yeah.
Northern Germany.
Yeah.
Has lived there its whole life?
No, originally a Swiss car.
Ah, so it's actually well maintained, Swiss and German.
The guy spent 28,000 euros in parts restoring it. The underside is to eat off of. It's shockingly clean.
What are you going to do with this thing? This is not going to be
drive it in the rain.
Oh, you don't you dare! You heard the Donna Summer song. Someone left the 124 out in the rain. We're back to musical references. I can't do this.
It's okay. It's disco.
Disco was amazing, was it not?
It is the last great music. No. 80s had good music in them as well, I reportedly. I don't know.
There was great 90s stuff. There was really good
I don't know.
90s
I'm
stuff.
too old. I was not really paying attention
also
to
a couple
contemporary
2000s
music.
Stuff. Yeah.
At that point.
No, 80s I wasn't a fan of unless it was like R&B, because then it was like, Anita Baker and late Luther Vandross stuff and all of yacht rock. That whole genre of amazing
The 80s
music.
are good.
80s were good. Okay. So you bought a stick shift dogleg manual wagon in purple and thought you were going to get away with it. Thought you were going to get away with it.
There's no media to support its existence, right? Until I see it in person, then I bought it sight unseen.
I mean, you saw pictures of it, right?
Yes, I saw pictures of it.
And you're going to have inserts
that's like
for them. Right?
That's like the holy grail configuration for me, especially with that color.
It would be holy grail for me if it had plaid seats.
Yes,
I gotta
agree.
say I'm a little bit disappointed at black leather.
I did once look at it. Had CIS, but it had plaid seats, but also Bornite and also dogleg. But
LJtronic wins.
Yeah, you definitely don't. If there's any car that's available with CIS, you want it without CIS. Anyway, this is
Wait a
Sorry,
second.
any car that was available both ways, you would prefer the electronic injection to
I
the
have
CIS.
to think about this. Well, there were cars that were available carbureted or with CIS.
Yeah, but I'm saying any car that was available with CIS or electronic injection, you choose the electronically injected
Oh, this
version.
could be a whole episode. We're going to have to discuss this. I don't know if that's a thing. Here's my thing. Everyone with CIS gets a bad rap. I currently have another car in my garage that doesn't belong to me because I'm not a hoarder and I didn't buy any more cars. Mm-hmm. See, like how I did that projection thing.
How many cars do you have, Jason?
I don't know why I'm being attacked like this.
Right.
Okay, let me explain one thing. That 1994 Hyundai XL, picture to be shown here, is still within 25 feet of us.
I wasn't
but
counting that car.
Allegedly,
I wasn't
first of all,
counting
was
that
paid
car.
for months ago, and the new owner, the very, very proud new owner, oh God, I hope he is flying down from the Pacific Northwest on Thursday with his daughter so they can drive it home. And he's like, is anything wrong with it? I'm like, the fuck do I know? Every time I go near it, it goes, boom, starts and runs perfectly. So I don't know. It survived 40 miles on a racetrack. That's all I can tell. But the tires were a bit old. Hope it doesn't rain too much. And whatever. I'll check.
Good. It certainly isn't due to rain anytime soon.
Whatever. It's due to rain nonstop for the next 200 years.
Yes.
The drought is over, and now we're going to drown. Anyway, so I got a phone call from a buddy of mine who said, listen, when I was younger, I may fuck up the story, but something to the extent of when he was younger, friends of the family bought a bitch basket, a VW Cabriolet for his daughter. And the daughter was only 14 or something and couldn't yet drive it. So he gave the car to my buddy Maurice, who then he allowed Maurice to drive it for a couple of years until the daughter turned 16 and could have the car. Some sort of arrangement like that. Unfortunately, Maurice is a lunatic and wrecked the car, and that was it. So she never got her cabbie. The bitch never got her basket, if we're going to be insulting. So
and we are.
And he said, keep an eye out for a cabriolet, that's reasonably priced and whatever. So a month later, I get a call from another friend who's like, hey, friend of my mom is quite old. She and her husband bought a cabriolet new in 1985.
Wow.
Took European delivery of it.
No way.
And the husband passed away and she's being evicted from the house she's lived in for 34 years. She needs to get rid of it. Horrible. So I called Maurice. I'm like, hey, found a cabbie. Let's go look at it. She says the woman's not in good health. She was very, very sweet. Recounted all these stories about driving it over the Alps and whatever. They spent some time in Europe.
Ooh.
Very cool. The lesson here is, according to her caretaker, was like, listen, she spent a lot of money. They had no kids. They spent a lot of time traveling and having a wonderful life. But now she's been living in this place for 30 something years and has to leave. The lesson for all of you is own your residence. Buy a house. You can go on vacations, but buy your house first. So the poor thing needs to sell this car. We walk in the garage. It's got no gas cap on it. And registration was last expired in 2019. So I'm like, well,
that's not that long ago.
Yeah, but how long ago? How much gas evaporated out of that fucking tank? And what's all in there left?
Shellac.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm thinking, all right, it's not going to start. Let's not even start it because we're just going to jam everything up full of crap. So buy a new fuel pump, pull the fuel lines off, dump it out, have the pump dump it out, put a new pump and new filter in, and hopefully it'll be fine. But it had some air left in the tires. He offered a reasonable amount of money for the car. She countered with a slightly less reasonable sum of money she was trying to get out of it. He gave her his number and said, listen, one day, if you change your mind, let me know. Over the course of the next couple of weeks, a bunch of people looked at it and offered the same amount of money that he did. So I had told her the story I said, listen, I'm sure this is very difficult to get rid of this car. The best I can tell you is it's going to go to a cool place. This girl's wanted one for her whole life. She will now have one. I think it's a neat giving back story. Maurice is going to fix it, make it,
to replace the crashed one.
Yes. 20 years later. I mean, however long this has been. Long story short, she calls and says, I'd rather you have it. Come and get it. So I pull the battery out of the Scirocco. I get a air compressor and 5 gallons of gas, and we headed over.
So you didn't do the...
She said somebody else showed up with a jumper box, and it started. So what the hell? They've already started it. Let's just go and drive it home. Save ourselves the tow. So while he's giving her the money and doing all the paperwork, I aired up all the tires, put a couple gallons of gas in it, pushed it outside, and fucking thing started right up. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, this is why I say CIS gets a bad name. This car's been sitting for years, and it was and idled perfectly, and then started to stall and stumble and run like shit. But once it got some temperature in it, it was perfect again, with who knows what is in that gas tank. And so I said, listen, just bring it to my house, stash it in the driveway, and I'll help you, get parts and whatever else we need for it. Cause he lives in the city. It doesn't have any more parking. And, he made it like 3 blocks before he's like, this clutch is fucked. Now we know it was sitting for so long. Yesterday we tore into it. Oh, the clutch kit, including a new pressure plate and throw-up bearing and all the other shit, was $79, I think, $89.
For a clutch kit?
Mm-hmm. And then the worst part was that we get in there and we see that the flywheel, that Chinese food had LSD and gas in it. The flywheel is completely fucked. It's all original. So when we pull the flywheel off, like 1.5 pounds of clutch dust falls out with it. I've never seen so much clutch dust. So clearly it's original, but it's gone. I mean, there's kind of the flywheel surface is all like, forget about feeling it with your fingertips. You could feel it with somebody else's fucking insert name of extremity that you should be able to feel from someone else. Call a guy that I know has got a VW parts store around here in stock. Yeah, I got a flywheel in stock. It's yours for $90. I love old Volkswagens. For a grand total of $180 or $200 all in now, it's got a new clutch, and he's currently in my garage doing a timing belt on it because I'm here recording with you instead of helping him work on this car.
How did the clutch job, you finish that all and it's functional?
He had the thing I was talking with. I have a new thing in my house where I have no heat in my house because apparently all my ductwork has collapsed, and I was wondering why it was taking 2.5 hours to heat the house in the morning.
Because you were heating the crawl space.
Because I was heating the crawl space, which is very well ventilated, which means I was really heating the neighborhood. Yeah,
you were heating the global warming.
Yeah, and unfortunately, all of the old ducts have fallen down and are disconnected, which is not the actual problem. The actual problem is that they were wrapped in asbestos, which means I get to pay more thousands of dollars to have somebody come in with like suits and remove
the hazmat suits.
Yeah, so I was talking to him. In the hour that I was talking to the guy who was trying to measure the ducts, but couldn't because the underside of my house was underwater. It's the fucking cascading shit show of my life. Maurice had the tranny ready to come out. I mean, they're just so easy to do. So new clutch, new timing belt, and it's going to go to a new home, and I'm super excited about this.
Cool.
That's really fun.
I'm glad it's being saved.
Yeah, I love stories.
What color is it?
Red.
Does it have the original California plates?
It has new California plates, like 6 plates. I don't know why,
That's
but
too
it has
bad.
the original German export plates from
That's
back
good.
in the day.
The white ovals.
The white oval. It's got like chrome beetle style hubcaps. So it's got like a hub ring and then the little cap in the middle. Oh, pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Why not?
Why not? Look, it's got a seat that looks like a bear attacked it. It's like shredded vinyl everywhere. I think the driver of the car used high heel shoes with a chainsaw that was attached to the bottom of the high heel. So it like tore up the carpet.
I see.
It's only got 140,000 miles. It looks like it's a million plus 140,000.
1.1 million and 40,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, I love the idea of resurrecting a car and just having it be enjoyed for future generations. So
I quite agree.
I'm currently foster caring car number, to answer your question, 10,
Mm-hmm.
11. I think I own 9.
I mean, I did that with the other E320 that I have. I don't know if we've even talked about the blue sedan.
The one that's sitting outside that?
Yeah.
Mysteriously, you just keep appearing in other old Mercedes? I mean, I know that.
I mean, it came off Craigslist, and it was like such a good car that I couldn't not buy it and save it. That's it. That's the story.
Save it.
Well, it was in an unsavory place, and it was becoming increasingly more unsavory. The car. I mean, it had AMG wheels on it and LED light bulbs in it and
LEDs
stuff
are
like
fine.
that. I don't like it, especially for the interior.
So,
Come bask in the cold glow of my refrigerator is what it feels like.
okay, the interior, that doesn't work. So I think I might have talked about the headlight situation on the van, the camera van. So we're always shooting in the desert, and usually we always shoot until the sun goes down. It doesn't matter what time of day that is. Well, it doesn't what time of day that is. If it's 11 o'clock at night, we're still shooting until then because Anthony's a freaking slave driver. And so we're always all driving back from the racetrack on these absolute deserted desert roads in the middle of nowhere. And at night in the dark. And 2 of my crew members said the same thing. Hey, I think the headlights are broken on the van. And I'm like, no, they're just halogen and they suck. They're like, no, I think they're broken. So of course I have to go and look, and it's fine, but it has halogen lows, halogen fogs. And if you switch to high beams, the fogs turn off, but the high beams illuminate less than the low beams do because they're just like one glowworm trying to illuminate an entire desert landscape. So I called the guys at the retrofit source, and I got a set of Morimoto LEDs for low beam, high beam, and fog. And holy shit, it's awesome. So
it's like being at a sports ball stadium.
Oh my God, it's so good. There's a slight problem, which is that the high beams are used for daytime running lights, and the high beams are pulse width modulated down to 7.5 volts. So they put out, 50% as much brightness. And they're annoying to other people when they're halogens. But when you put an LED with a capacitor on it, so it's not it's not PWM down, and it's at 100%. The first time I drove this van during the day, I went from my house to a grocery store, which is a quarter mile away, and 3 people flashed me. And they were mad. These things are brighter than the surface of the fucking sun, which is awesome. So, all right. So now I'm trying to find a way. If anyone knows a Chrysler dealership in the Bay Area who will just disable these fucking DRLs, the bigger issue is A, that. B, I can't flash anyone, and you know how I love a good flash. So that's a problem.
Yes, we all do.
If they're already full brightness, I can just do this and it doesn't change. So I have to manually turn the headlights on. C, the bigger issue is this is our camera car. And if you have 2 spotlights that are brighter than the surface of the sun, you now have 2 moving reflections where you can see the camera van in all the cars.
Reflected in the side of the car.
Exactly. So I need to disable the DRLs. So everything's fine every day leaving the track. I'm like, I plug the high beams back in so we can drive at night and have high beams, and they're fucking amazing. Seriously, retrofit source, all their shit, unbelievable. And then on the way home, I connect everything and we load this van. I mean, it had to have 90,000 pounds worth of shit in it. Maybe slight exaggeration, but a vast, huge, enormous sum of shit in this van. And I leave at 5 o'clock in the morning, and the first thing I do is realize that I'm downing planes. The thing is oh my God, I felt so bad. I could not wait for the sun to come up, because now even the low beams and the fogs are going right into the eyes of oncoming traffic. It was terrible. This is why you have to have load leveling if you have LEDs.
Or, why you shouldn't do LEDs.
You have
I
to.
don't like LEDs in a new car it's fine, but in an old car definitely not. And something from the 90s, I can't.
Okay, this is not a 90s. This is a car
I was talking about the 124.
Oh, you have 124? Here's the thing. Mercedes optics are usually so good that even the halogen H4 bulbs in my 201 are bright enough that I don't want for
European lights, but the
Yeah.
U.S. lights are often not like.
Oh, you're
that.
fucked. Yeah, you
Yeah,
have to
like
put
the
your-
129 and 124 before they facelifted them.
Can't even tell if the headlights are on.
Yes, that's 100% true.
Yeah.
Not an exaggeration.
Especially in the dark. On, off. You
Yes.
genuinely see nothing.
Yeah, it's true. Did we have a topic for today?
We didn't. So we came up with a backup plan.
Yes.
So I have a spreadsheet of every car that I've ever driven professionally, and then a non-spreadsheet list of every other car that I've driven prior to starting driving cars professionally. And people often ask me, hey, what did you think about such and such? And I'll say right off the top of my head what I remember, and then I'll often go back and consult the sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And then every time I'm a guest on anyone else's podcast, they're always like, can I see the sheet? No, but they'll throw out random numbers and I will read what I've written. Sometimes it has to be slightly redacted. Although we're pretty profane on this podcast, so I might be able to get away with it.
Thoroughly.
But these are often written down in sort of notes form. Like it's a mental reminder for me. It's not meant for public consumption, or I would have published it long ago. Because, I'm not worried about the 1 cent in value that this could possibly bring to the world. Turns out you have also started to do this. You're a copycat. Or you just...
Sure,
Or
or I
wired
just started
the same.
tracking all of the cars I've driven. I don't have any notes, though, to share. So any notes in them would have to be ad-libbed, which is what I usually do anyway.
Okay. So we decided, because Paolo sits there and just burps in the background normally, we were going to give him a job. No, he's punching me. I'm kidding. Those of you listening on a podcast, I'm not being abused. I am not slap happy. I'm slap miserable. So Paolo has a random number generator, 2 of them, in fact. One that goes up to 2,714, which is the last entry on my sheet, meaning I have notes on 2,714 cars, only because I've missed a couple from last week. You have how many cars?
1,155.
Okay, so between the 2 of us, we have, hold on, I added this up, 3,869 cars that we're going to review in this hour of the pot. No, in the next 10 minutes, and then we can call it.
Okay.
Okay, so it is. You're going to be in charge of time, because I don't know what time we started. Or maybe Paolo, you could do that. You could do something other than burping in the background. Yeah. And punching me. What? Oh, okay.
And producing random numbers.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we can start. Let's start with a hyphen. 850. Ladies and gentlemen, we are looking for entry number 850.
1989 Peugeot 405 MI16.
Ooh, was that the car that you owned?
It is, yeah.
That was fun.
It was really fun. It was a car that, as a sedan, is like, it has 140 horsepower, which was a lot for back then, but not by modern standards. And so you drive it initially, and you're like, wow, this thing has no guts. It's 1.9 liters. And then you rev the piss out of it and drive it like a sports car asshole. And then you're like, wow, this thing is hilariously enjoyable.
It didn't understeer.
Yeah.
It would turn in and go neutral. That's all I remember. With 5 people in the car. I don't know who the fuck was in the car, but
it was after Radwood of I don't know what year that was.
I remember the
Maybe
turn.
17.
I remember a lot of screaming in the car.
Yeah.
And I also remember turning in and having to have to wind out some steering. Turn in and whoa, this thing is awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool car.
Highly recommend the MI16.
Was actually on my bedroom wall. 1988 European Car of the Year.
Mm-hmm. And mine had 44,000 miles. One of the lowest in existence.
Yeah.
Nice car.
Nice car. Very cool.
Okay, that was 850.
That number 850 was 405. All right. 1851. You have to amuse them while I go find this.
Oh, you're doing the scrolling mechanism? Oh, because you haven't...
They don't actually have numbers. I'm just looking at...
Yeah, you're just looking at the leftmost column, which is not Apple F-able or Control F.
1851. So I'm so nervous. I genuinely get nervous about this.
What if it's something I'm embarrassed to have driven?
I'm just embarrassed what I said, because I say some pretty terrible things. Okay. This entry was made on November 3rd, 2014. I drove a 2015 Audi A3 Cabriolet 1.8 turbo front wheel drive. Okay, I put 252 miles on this car, and I said, so cute. Driving position is all wrong. Seat back. Hold on. I'm going to have to make this font bigger because I have a microphone in the way, so I can't get close enough. And I'm one of these days going to need...
readers.
Oh, don't you fucking dare. I'm going to need surgery. I will not put reading glasses on. Driving position is all wrong. Seat back aims at you Aims you at the front fender because you sit inboard of the wheel. What the fuck, Audi? Other than that, very pleasant. Great ride with good body control, overboosted and numb but accurate steering. Decent ergonomics. This version of MMI isn't quite as easy as some past, but still very good. Excellent HVAC controls, etc. God, I'm very wordy, sorry. No paddle shifters, very fast brake response. That said, way too heavy for front wheel drive. Can't make it through first at 3/4 throttle without lighting up the front wheels. ESP cuts power and progress tremendously. Bang & Olufsen is slammin', of course. Good wind control, very good visibility, but you definitely need that backup camera. Great structural rigidity with only minor cowl shake, fairly unusable back seats, but they'll do in a pinch. Decent trunk with divider for top, goes up and down slowly, blah, 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 blah. Very quiet. 1.8T has great mid-range punch, but nothing up top. Wide open throttle hill climbs are frustrating because the car has even more grunt in the next available gear. Don't you hate that? You upshift and the car's faster. It mostly just isn't enough muscle in this car. The 2-liter and Quattro are really kind of necessary, but 30 miles per gallon indicated on the highway and 25.1 overall.
So that's A3.
That's A3. Yeah.
So that's like near luxury entry level convertible Audi.
Yep. I remember
anyone
this.
who buys that car is not going to give a shit about any of that stuff.
No.
They're like, it's cute, it's convertible.
But it was a manual. It must have been. No, hold on. It couldn't have been a manual. Why am I
Doubt
talking about
it.
first gear? Normally I would say something about the way it shifts, but no. Oh, I do say no paddle shifters. I remember that car because I remember taking it to Zingerman's Delicatessen in Ann Arbor. And so this was definitely a thing where I drove in Michigan to notice I didn't say, can't make it up any of the hills in San Francisco because it weighs 4,800 pounds and has front wheel drive. Yep, that is my A3. I really wish there was a Volkswagen Golf convertible version of that car. It's on sale now. Like, I just want a 4-seat convertible.
Buy an E320.
No, I have a Volkswagen Cabriolet.
Buy a Volkswagen Cabriolet. You already have one.
Yeah, but I want one that, like, if a large mosquito hits me, I don't die.
E320.
2 large mosquitoes. Okay, modern cars. Paolo, number generator for Derek?
1061.
1061. That is 1,061.
2015 Porsche 918 Weissach Silver.
Fuck you. You know I'm going to get a Daihatsu next. It's going to be like a friggin' Mitsubishi Mirage rental car. And
yes, Mirage rental. So Paolo was with me this day, and we had a 918 and we had the Carrera GT, and we swapped cars halfway through, and then I drove one to the photo spot, and he drove the other, and then we switched. I drove the 918 first. It was fast and modern, and then I drove the Carrera GT back, and then I was like, fuck. Why would anyone ever buy a 918 when you can buy a Carrera GT?
Right, hold on. What I'm going to do is I'm now going to do a Control F search for when I drove a 918. Only one. That was May 19th,
it's outrageously fast.
Holy hell. Every time I get into an EV, I forget how instant the power is. Insane speed, lights up the rears, and then just fucking goes. Okay. Steering? What do you remember?
It's sort of unremarkable. I mean, everything's unremarkable by modern standards compared to like an old 911.
So here's the thing. This is why I take notes, because you're saying it's unremarkable. I remarked.
Okay, what did you remark?
Incredibly heavy. I don't remember this. I did for a Discovery show called Supercar Super Build, and I did donuts in it with the permission of Porsche. That I remember. Incredibly heavy steering, not the most talkative at the limit, but way better than overboosted 991s. Understeer for 0.05 second on throttle, and then the engine responds. Very neutral, huge grip, monstrously fast, sounds incredible, very Ferrari, but vibrates your teeth out inside the car. You hate it because it's a flat plane V8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I have a whole paragraph written on it, but funny, interesting.
Okay,
please give me the number, Paolo, for a like Nissan Versa base, no
CVT.
power door lock CVT.
We're headed that way. 734.
734. It's a low number. This is going to be a long time ago. Back when I cared. I never cared. Okay, 734. Ooh, this is a good one. On February 5th, 2009, I drove a 2009 Dodge Nitro 3-liter RT. I put 165 miles on this pile of shit.
It's a 4-speed automatic. Count them: 1, 2, 3, 4 speeds.
I don't remember. I don't know. Well, here's what I said. Hate to admit this thing looks hot enough to almost overcome its horribleness. I always thought that thing was great looking. Course engine isn't as bad as the 3.7, but ouch. Stability control intervenes so early it makes me question how unstable it really is. Crappy materials throughout, but decent body control. Drives like a Jeep. I wish it was 3 feet shorter, lower, and more like a hot hatch than a Jeep.
Okay, Dodge Nitro.
Dodge Nitro. Forgot about that pile of shit.
This
So
is why you have
cute,
to take
though.
notes.
Yeah, well, the problem, there are a lot of cars in here that like I would have gotten when I worked at Automobile. I was like 2 miles from the office to my house. Walk in the parking structure, get out of the parking structure, drive home, and drive back in the morning, and that's it. And so I would take some notes, but there were a lot. Sometimes I didn't have a lot to say. Obviously, I went somewhere 165 miles in the Nitro, especially because the next day I put, oh my God, I put 70 miles on a Suzuki Equator Crew Cab Sport.
What is a Suzuki Equator?
I don't know. Hold on. I'm not much to say, but there's definitely no sport in here. Back seat looks bigger than it is. Seats are very upright. Wind noise in the back from the seats folded down. Ergonomics seem a bit dated, but perfectly functional. Enormous Equator badges on the sides are a little much. Doesn't have ESP or TC, but will flash a spin idiot light when there's one wheel peel. That's kind of funny.
It's like a contest to get the light to light
What
up.
in the and I put 70 miles on it. I don't remember. I didn't even know there was such a thing as an Equator Crew Cab Sport. Crew Cap. Must be cab. Must be a typo. Wow.
Okay.
Well, you fucking hit a home run on that one, Bello.
285 there.
285?
285.
385.
385. I can't hear him.
I can't either. I've got headphones on. Studio monitors, excuse me. 385.
Are
385.
these studio monitors? I thought they were just props.
1986 Ferrari 328 GTS red.
Huh.
It's funny because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 entries, 6, 7 entries for red 328 GTSs.
Oh my God.
So this is just like any of the other ones. I don't know. It's CIS. It's 3.2 liters. It's transverse. It's like all of the things that we wish that we don't like about those injected 328, 308 cars.
Speak for yourself. I don't want to make any enemies here.
You
Hope you
always
don't
shit
own
on
a
those
Nitro.
cars all the time.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's a 328. They look really great and they don't drive as well as they look. And they're, flat plane, which I complain about, and timing belts, which is actually not that bad because it's transverse and they're not hard to get to. They're pleasant enough. They're enjoyable, but I don't think they're $100,000 experiences. But that's what they cost. And
All
it was
right.
red.
And it was red, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, Bello.
2383.
2383. We're going into the modern era. 23. Amuse everyone, Derek. I apologize for the. We need to have like hold music. The one that you mentioned.
Or we
a
need to
couple episodes
control it.
ago.
Oh, yes. Opus number 1, it's called.
2383. Ooh, ho, ho, ho. On July 2nd, 2019, I put 225 miles on a 2019 M18 New Stratos.
Oh, that's a very good one.
Uh-oh. So I did that Icons video and I basically just fellated the car the entire time for half an hour. And I'm totally in love with it. And I will say, I still want one. I still think about this.
And you still describe it as the best Ferrari you've ever driven.
Yeah. And also, it's like a Lotus Elise with post-puberty.
Yeah.
Yeah. The interior. Okay, so hold on. So I drove a couple of them. I don't think this is the prototype, but the interior cabin heat thing needs to be addressed, but most of the other problems have been fixed. Okay, so the second one. Stupendous fit and finish for a coach build. No worse than the Ferrari, except for the trunk lid up front. Shift alignment and 1-2 gate. Okay, let's also say that as it turns out, the car that I did the episode on was originally an F430 F1 that had been
was converted to a stick. Yes.
And there were a bunch of problems with that conversion.
Yeah, ECUs and shift alignment and all of that stuff.
Yeah,
Shifter alignment.
and there were just a lot of problems with that car. The donor car itself really wasn't sorted, and so a lot of this doesn't have anything to do with MAT. But shift alignment and 1-2 gate still needs to be addressed. Great when cruising, masks speed well. Can't wait to try it when the airbox was swapped. Okay, because the 3,200 RPM resonance is the worst sound I've ever heard in an automobile. So there was, MAT did their own airbox for the car, and there was this crazy resonance in this one that was deafening and horrible. It was genuinely the worst thing I've ever heard in a car. And they did, in fact, make a new intake manifold for it and shut it right up. It just sounded amazing.
That's right. The one that is the offending one is actually sitting on the shelf at ISSIMI right now. It's
That's
sitting
funny.
on the bookshelf on display because it's made of carbon fiber and it's
Yeah,
actually
it's
very
carbon.
beautiful.
It turned into like a carbon fiber kazoo of hell. It was terrible. Good steering accuracy with not much field. Great ride quality as always. Turns in like no car I've ever driven. It is simply unbelievable. Huge grip, and then the Cup 2s let go, but thank God for ESP. Great seats, horrid side view mirrors, need to be convex. Such an experience from start to finish, from getting in and driving it to everything else. It's a wonderful piece of art that drives as good or better than it looks. And the more time I spend in it, the more I'm convinced it's better than the Ferrari it's based on. Scuderia Experience Plus, only without the shitty F1 transmission and douche factor. I genuinely would have one. That was $650,000 if I remember correctly, that car. And I thought if it was two something, I was thinking like how many cars, if I sold basically all
And
the cars,
mortgages and all that.
yeah, could I actually do something like that? And then, the realization of paying $200,000 in sales tax, $20,000 in sales tax. I was like, wait,
That's like 3 cars.
I could conceivably spend $200,000 on a car that will be worth $200,000, right? I couldn't spend it on a depreciating car, but if I was reasonably sure that it would withhold its value, I could see investing in something like that one day. But what I can't imagine is $20,000 in sales tax.
Well, it
That's
just
how
has to
cheap
go
I
up
am.
by at least $20,000 in value.
Yeah, but what investment are you going to buy and say, I'm only going to break even if it increases by 10% in value? Anyway.
You cannot put a price on an experience like that.
I love
Yes,
that
you can.
Stratos.
$700,000.
Yeah, I don't know what they're like used, but oh God, I want one.
Yeah.
I still want one. Okay.
Epically good. Anything Stratos apparently is just great.
Yeah, well, it was the Ferrari that Ferrari couldn't build. You guys should watch that episode. That was a fun Icons to do. We had horrendous weather. We had a whole bunch of shit go wrong, but man, was that car good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 892 for Derek Tim Scott.
892.
Derek, please get the red courtesy phone and dial 892.
Where are we? 892.
After 891.
On the 16th of September, 2016.
Please tell me you don't have it in the douchey European way. 16 September.
I drove a 1964 Porsche 356C Coupe. This car. I have a license plate frame from this car. I mean, no, I don't.
So Derek stole shit off a customer
I
car.
exported it with the car, for sure. This car went to Germany. It was a white 356C Coupe that came from a guy who owned it for a long time, and he was done with it, and we sold it to Germany for him. But yeah, 356C Coupe. So this will be the end of the 356 line right before the 911 came out. Disc brakes, twin grills. These are pushrod 4-cylinder engines that don't really rev, but doesn't matter. The chassis and steering of these cars and the gear change feels very Porsche. It's a car that when you drive it, you're like, it feels like a Porsche, even though it's like an ancient Volkswagen Beetle thing. They're very charming. I like 356Cs.
I've driven one, if I'm correct, one 356 ever belonged to Richard Griot, owner of Griot's Garage, and it had an SC motor in it.
And what year was the car?
Okay, it's a
What
1958 Intermechanica.
Oh, it's a
356
replica.
Swapped with full subframes from 911 SE, just with carbs. Brilliant throttle response. Dirty engine note. Quick, fun, and far more stable than I'd expected 356 to be.
Well,
then
it's
again,
not
it's
really
not
a
a 356. It's a repop. I like it raw and fun and stable at 80 miles an hour and quick enough. Cool car. That's what I wrote.
Okay.
And by the way, if you've driven any of the cars that I mentioned, you should be doing the same thing. This is not me.
Like the Equator. I've not driven the
That's
Equator.
exactly.
I've not driven a Dodge Nitro.
I've driven two an Equator coffee. Apparently, I've driven an Equator. I don't remember that the Equator exists.
I have no idea what it looks like. Literally, no match is found. Like when I go through the Rolodex,
it's got to be a pickup truck.
If it's a crew cab, presumably it's a pickup truck.
I mean,
who knew?
No, not me.
Yes.
What? 406. Well, that's annoyingly low. This will be way back
ancient
at
history. Oh, interesting. I have mine alphabetized and then chronologically by age of car, and you have them
just
chronologically from when you drove it.
406. On October 9th, 2007, I drove a 2008 Accord V6. for Automobile All-Stars. This is during an All-Stars competition. Nice sounding V6 and smooth transmission, but it's become a Camry. Wood in an Accord? It's fluid and smooth like Camrys were 10 years ago, but where the fuck is the Accord sportiness? That's all gone. God, I'm profane even in my notes. And whoever did the ergonomics needs to be shot. The HVAC controls are split around the inscrutable radio controls. And what's with the enlarged radio control nipple thing? Ew. So there you have it.
I've never... What year is this?
2008 Accord.
Don't
ask me what it looks like. I don't remember.
Okay. I might have driven one of those.
I'm sure
I think
you
it had 200... Those things have like 270 horsepower, don't they? All to the front
V6,
wheels?
yeah.
It's pretty stout.
Honda's only ever made one V6 other than the NSX. It's a single cam VTEC thing that's still in production. It's 800 years old.
Still going strong.
Still going strong, like the Energizer Bunny.
Okay.
284.
284.
284.
284. 284. 270. 284. Oh, it's a motorcycle. Does that count?
No, but tell me anyway.
It's a Ducati Diavel. We had this client at the dealer that I used to work at, and he would buy and sell cars so frequently that he was basically like a leave a penny, take a penny. And he bought this Pagoda from us, an early Pagoda. It was two-tone, like almost white, but light gray with dark gray hard top and hubcaps with a red interior.
Ooh.
And so it was really pretty great. It was a neat example. Anyway, he bought it and he was like, can you bring it up to me and I'll just give you something else to take back. I'll figure out what it is before you get here. And it ended up being a motorcycle. So I brought this Ducati back he has like a winery up in the wine country.
Did you just pull a helmet out of your ass? And
I think he let me know that morning before I left.
Oh, okay.
Because he was like an hour and a half away up in the wine country.
By the way, bring your leathers.
Yes.
That's funny.
So yes, that's why I rode the Ducati Diavel on the 7th of November, 2014.
That's fun. Fun stuff. It's almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
1,751.
That's how long ago is that going to be? That's going to be 4 years ago.
No, God, that's a lot longer than that. 1751 is April 25th, 2014.
Oh.
I drove a 2014 Ford Fiesta ST.
Oh.
Rear visibility is absolutely absurd. I can see the ground behind the car, but not the car. Thank you, mirror that's mounted way too high. Clutch take-up is perfect. Shifter is ropey and light, but pretty precise. Steering is great. Not nervous, but quick. Not much torque steer. Enormous, useful information once you're off-center. This might be the best E-Pass out there. Electric power steering. Huge applications of understeering power are met with abrupt brake system stabs that throw you a half a lane over. Headlights suck. Ride is really taut. Don't like that the engine does tricks to help you shift smoothly. It fucks with you when you skip gears. Yeah. And it also doesn't have any engine braking VVT trick. That's another thing that car companies do for
emissions
and fuel economy is coast down. It'll kill the injectors but crack the throttle open.
My GTI does that and I hate it.
Downright shocking levels of powertrain isolation under 4,000. It could be a Mercedes. Fairly awful build quality when you look at the details, like exposed wells in the door window frames, water leaking out of loose trunk welds in the hatch. Seats are really tight, but fit me well. Steering is offset to the passenger side and column is aimed towards the center of the car. So 3 o'clock is further away than 9. My Ford Touch's screen is far too small to be a touchscreen. Shitty turn signal / wiper stocks. This is a comprehensive review. Some rattles and hideous noises coming from the rear brakes and or exhaust under a lateral load. Brakes are amazing. Overall, it's a hell of a fun ride, a 9 out of 10. I'm not sure I'd take it over a GTI, even a Mark 6 at $25,000, but it's one of the most fun cars out there. Also, it's adorable.
Okay.
A full review delivered in one little paragraph in an Excel spreadsheet.
Yes.
That's pretty interesting. You've driven a Fiesta ST?
I did a dealer test drive around the block once because it was a consideration against a Miata. So I don't really remember anything about it.
Steady state oversteer. Some of those cars.
That's fun.
They had huge liftoff oversteer.
I like it already.
Yeah, they were far more fun than the Focus RS.
That's what I remember everyone was saying.
Totally unsorted.
And the ST? Unsorted.
Unsorted, yeah. And then Focus ST.
But fun.
Also, right.
Sorted but unfun. But fun.
No, yes.
Sorted, unsorted but fun.
But fun, yeah. Like
I guess
raggedly fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Focus was nowhere near as fun as Fiesta was. Shame. What did he say? Hungry? Oh, agreed.
Oh, that's right. As a former Focus RS and Fiesta non-ST owner.
Oh, Paolo
Yeah. He had
doesn't
a
just
manual-
generate numbers. He had a
some
Fiesta
Ford and a Focus
and a
RS.
Focus RS, yeah.
549 there.
549.
Which is 9 more than a BMW E39 with a V8 in it.
49.
49.
1961 Jaguar E-Type Roadster, British Racing green with green interior, flat floor. So
As
early,
opposed to a curved floor?
yes. Next number. No, allow me to explain. Early E-Types,
A busty floor?
yes, prepubescent floor. The early E-Types, the floor was flat, like you would make a floor, and a lot of people complained that the footwell wasn't deep enough, and so your toes would hit the top of the underside of the dashboard or the steering column or whatever.
Like a 129 Mercedes.
Like, yes, I guess you have that problem. Much more worse in the E-Type. So starting in 62, they basically like cut a hole out and then they put like a little well that sticks down. That looks like a tray that you would use to put for a paint roller when you're painting your house. So all E-Types, except for the very earliest cars, are not flat floors. They have the well for your feet to make the footwell taller.
So are they called weld floors?
You
or?
just call them a regular E-Type instead of a flat
okay.
floor.
Okay.
So yes.
Interesting.
The first year of the E-Type. And it was green, BRG with a green interior,
Oh, that's
which
fabulous.
is a great
That's pretty cool.
configuration.
I love
4th of February, 2017.
I love how the years are like, look at this 1 year only crazy thing. And I'm like, it's a Suzuki Equator. All right, next.
2660.
2660. Don't forget to amuse our audience while I look through this ridiculously long. I think I should have done a sequence number. Oh my God. 2674, 2670, 2660. Oh my God. I have just outranked your E-Type flat floor.
Okay.
Because on July 16th, 2022, I drove 1,200 miles
Oof.
in
In
a
one day.
2021 Chrysler Pacifica. No, it was
Oh.
over the course of a week. I mean, this is hilarious. This is the car that I wrecked. What a useful vehicle, except for the placement of the AC condenser, which is unprotected behind the air dam, as I learned the hard way.
Oh, you hit something.
Great suspension tuning, quiet on the road, holds more than... Oh, wow. This
Wow,
is offensive.
Jason is embarrassed. This is a rare moment that everyone should savor, and if you're not watching on YouTube, you should watch it on YouTube because Jason is embarrassed, and this is maybe historic. Well, you can't not share it.
Holds more shit than Trump's septic tank. Sound effects. Please, what the hell was that noise?
It was the soundboard.
Oh my God. This is why I say I can't read this out loud.
Why was I drinking water when you said
That was stupid. I heard the gurg. Did you actually vomit? Was it the sweet and
Everything's
sour
fine.
soup?
everything's fine?
Getting back to business, 110 mile an hour indicated top speed, 25 miles per gallon on the highway. I don't like it better than the Grand Caravan because the 9-speed doesn't have paddles or tap shift. So my choice is D or S, and the latter is too aggressive and confused. Great displays in Uconnect. Otherwise, I prefer the Grand Caravan, but I like them both more than any other people mover.
And now you own a Grand Caravan.
This was this is a month before I bought the Grand Caravan. Are you okay?
I'll be fine.
Yeah, so
Almost certainly.
the Airbnb that we stay at often when we go filming has a driveway. Like it's got 5 buildings. It's a compound. The whole crew, we all stay together in the house, and the driveway is like curved and then goes from a curve to like a really hard 90 that's very tight. And I needed the van by the front door to load a bunch of stuff. And when we first went there, I warned everyone. Of course, this is karma because I'm like, don't hit the wall. There's a wall that's like 1.5 feet high. And you can't see it when you're in the car. And it comes to a 90, it comes to a point, but it's got big, thick, like 1.5 inch tiles on top of it that stick out proud. So in that corner, if you can imagine, they stick out like a spear. That's exactly where I tried to make a U-turn in the Pacifica. And I'm like, I'm leaving. Plenty of room, blah, 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 blah. This is in the middle of the Bronco Raptor shoot, which went horribly wrong because Anthony got COVID in the middle of it. And so we had to reconvene and reshoot this. So it was 111 degrees outside. And I'm backing up the van and doing like an Austin Powers 18-point turn. And I go to back up and I hear psst. And a huge steam cloud comes up and I'm like, what the fuck is that? Well, I just nudged the front bumper into the corner of that like tile-y top thing. And it went and punctured the fucking AC condenser. We were just...
get a... I don't know what the official term is. It's the tall, skinny, orange traffic cones. I just know what CHP calls them, which is not for public consumption.
You're going to have to tell everyone.
Donkey dick.
Ew.
That's what they call those things. The skinny orange cones, not the cone-shaped cones.
Never looked at a donkey's genitalia, but apparently... Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway. So
you should put one on top of the wall.
The punchline to this whole thing is, so this was a rental for Enterprise. They fucked something up big on the loan. Oh, I told them, hey guys, I'm going to put it. I kept renting these vans from Enterprise, and every time I got them, there was
That's why you bought one.
Yeah, there was a huge list of problems. So I brought this. I picked this one up. It had 12 psi of air in one of the tires, 60 something in the other one, and the other two were like 30 whatever. The windshield was so disgusting I couldn't actually see out of it, and had to pull over and clean it to get home because I picked it up in the dark. The parking brake didn't work, so I adjusted it, and had check engine light and airbag light on. So I cleared everything else. Like I added a quart of oil to it. I have to do a full pre-flight because we're loading this with like all of our camera gear. If I break down on I-5, like you're in the middle of nowhere, and by the way, they don't have spare tires, so I'm always like checking tire pressure and whatever. So I called them, and I'm like, guys, I know you're turning around these things fast. Oh, and that was the other thing. The day that morning, now I'm remembering it all, they were like, hey, so we don't have a minivan for you. We're just going to sub in like an Equinox. And I'm like, the fuck you are? I have 7 people plus a whole bunch of shit. Like, no. And they're like, well, we have a couple, but they're rented out to other people. I'm like, come on, I rent one of these from you every month. Can you do me a favor and please just ask the other people if they would accept a substitute? And they did. Somebody did. So I get the van. So now I can't be a total asshole to them because then they give me the van. But I called the manager and I'm like, you can't send out a car with 15 psi of air in a tire when I'm going to put 1,000 miles on it on I-5 and it's 100 degrees and whatever. He says, okay, I'm really sorry. I'm like, it's all good. He's like, I'll give you, when you return the van, I'll give you like a credit for another loan. I'll give you credit for another loan. And I'm like, no, it's fine. So I pop the condenser, have to drive hours in the desert with I'm in my underwear, no shirt. I put a shirt over the seat because I'm like sweating like a pig, and we shoot the rest of this Raptor scene. It was the Bronco Raptor. It was a disaster. Everything sucked. And I had to drive all the way back to fucking San Francisco on I-5, like 8.5 hours in 112 degree weather
of glass.
So I got there, I unloaded the van, and I just put like a shirt and shorts on and drove it right there, filthy, right back to the place. And he's like, you look like shit. You smell like a cow. And I'm like, yeah, I've been sweating for 8 hours. The fucking thing doesn't even have air conditioning. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I'll give you a refund. I'm like, no, you won't. Because I'm thinking the karma on this is going to be way too big. And I'm like, I refuse to let him give me a refund. But he's like, I'll give you 50% off on your next one. I'm like, great, we're good. And I got the fuck out of there. So I didn't quite tell him that there was no damage. There was nothing. You couldn't see anything from the front of the car. So 2 weeks later, I show up at my friend's shop, AC repair shop, with my van, the one that I bought, because this whole thing went so wrong. And I'm like, hey, the rear AC doesn't work. Can you put an expansion valve in and charge it? And he's like, yeah. And I look over and there's a Pacifica with no front end on it. I'm like, oh, what happened to that? And he's like, we can't figure it out. I don't know what the fuck happened to this thing. We can't figure it out. There's the condenser on the floor. It's tacoed in half. And he's like, not a scratch on the front of it. We can't figure out what the fuck this person backed into. I'm like, it was a wall. He was like, what? And I'm like, no, that's I did that. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, is that an Enterprise van? And he was like, yeah. It went to another shop. They couldn't get the AC to work, and it's here now. I'm like, yeah, this is what it looked like before you pull the front end off, right? And he looks in the bumper's on the ground with the front license plate. He's like, yep, that's a match. Yeah. So I felt terrible, but I bought my own van. And that's that. That was on.
That was a good van story.
It was a fun van story. I love vans. Are we almost at an hour? One more each? Paulo says one more each. El número, por favor.
45, Derek.
1,045.
And 010s. 1,045. Oh, 2007 Porsche GT3 White. 14th of June, 2013. I drove a 997 GT3. Now, this was my brother's car, actually.
So all you have is just smileys afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, this was the first GT3 I ever drove.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And we did a track day in it, and then I was like, shit. It was the first time I had experienced a liquid-cooled 911 that I really genuinely was like, this is a 911.
Oh, yeah.
Because every other liquid-cooled 911 I had experienced up to that point, I was like, yeah, it's pretty good for a modern car. And then I drove that, and I was like, the car that it most reminds me of in terms of character and personality is a Carrera RS. And so I was
which
like,
I've still never driven.
Which you must. So the DNA of an old school 911 was really alive in that car, and I experienced that in a modern 911 for the first time.
What year was it? What was the other car?
It was an 07. So
okay.
It was a non-RS.
So just out of curiosity, I looked up my first ever GT3 that I have a record of anyway. And in 2007, I drove an 08 911 GT3. I'm ruined for life. I want a car with suspension and reflexes like this, not to mention steering feedback and accuracy, engine from the gods, all of them, and just a complete masterpiece at Barber. Must have been a Barber, apparently. Yeah, ruined for life. I think that's accurate.
Yeah. So of the liquid cooled 911s, I think the 997 GT3, any variant, is kind of the one to have.
RS 4-liter was my favorite of them all.
Well, of course. Whatever. Everybody loves that car.
Whatever.
I mean, it's the most of all of them.
Best 911 ever. As an experience.
Best liquid cooled 911.
Sure. And 911R would be the best one to drive every day.
Yeah.
Or a GT3 Touring, whatever.
Yeah, you get the 500 additional RPM.
Yep, that's true. That works. All right, my last one. 400 even.
Ooh, early.
It's later than this GT3 was. 400 even. We are in 370 and 400. Oh, dear. On October 9th, 2007, I drove 20 miles in a 2008 Chevrolet Malibu LTZ V6. Another All-Stars comparison in automobile. Oh, this is not good. Misfire at low RPM.
In a press loan. Good.
Yeah, for car of the year. Transmission is confused and slow to react and drive, but follows commands in M. Not bad refinement, numb but fairly smooth, and shockingly good at covering ground quickly. Two-tone interior masks the horrid material quality, and it's beautiful. Was it 2008? Malibu, beautiful? I think I remember that.
LTZ. Now we're both going to open a tab and...
I thought that was beautiful. That's got typo. Oh, the two-tone interior masks hard material quality, comma, and is beautiful. That was okay. So the LTZ two-tone interior. Oh
yeah, it looks like a C6.
Yes. Yeah, that is beautiful. Okay, I'm not fucking totally nuts.
Beautiful-ish.
I mean, for a Malibu,
yeah,
you know that it comes from Detroit, so it has an extra Y in it. It's a Chevy Malibu.
Mm-hmm. What a high note to finish on this exercise.
Now, this is the first. So this is episode 80 something, and you've vomited for the first time on camera. Was that nasal expulsion, or was that?
Yeah, sure. It's okay. I've cried before on the Carmudgeon show. Pontiac Endurance Test.
I need to go back and watch that episode.
The episode is entitled. I've figured this out. It's called 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds or something like that. But that was what we called it because we were complaining about how fast the M8 competition was or something like that. And so...
Of course we were. How dare this car be fast? In my day, we didn't have fast. We had Pontiacs.
So yes, that's the episode that the Pontiac Endurance Test is in.
I just remember I remember hearing from somebody that they were surprised that Derek Tam Scott could make the noises that Derek Tam Scott makes. And you do have a very giggly laugh.
Yeah.
What was the other thing we were talking about once recently off camera, and you were screaming, hysterical laughing, and I'm like, you have to do that on.
I don't know.
Well, we got you today.
Yeah, so
I think
some kind of biological
Derek threw
malfunction occurred today.
I think he shit himself. So would explain the odor in here. I thought that was you, Paolo. Anyway, thank you for generating numbers for us, Paolo. Thank you for joining us, everyone. This has been the Carmudgeon Show.
I'm Derek Tam Hyphen Scott, part of the Hagerty Podcast Network. Sorry, we have to now that we've done the intro. Yes, of course. All right, see you next week, probably, almost certainly, maybe.